Hello, class. Now, in this video, we're going to do some of the most important things you can add to the drawing, which is entourage, specifically scale figures or people. Now, we didn't do this in the last assignment because it became quite hard to draw people by hand in Photoshop. Now, people do it using paintbrush tools, and they're very skilled painters and whatnot, and probably have different kind of equipment than we have. But the collage method certainly is an easy way to go ahead and do it. So from now on, we should use this and have people pretty much in every drawing or anything else you want to enhance that way. So I've gone ahead and I have found a photograph of a person. I just want to say a few words about finding people in photographs. So first of all, often when I do Google search images, I try to be very specific. So I know this was an outdoor person, so I didn't just type in person or whatever the case may be. I did man hiking because that's what I wanted. If you wanted someone sitting in a lounge chair, then type that woman sitting in a lounge chair, whatever the case might be. Be specific about it. Now, you can often find people already cut out of photographs like we did when we looked at trees that have transparent backgrounds. Certainly makes it a little quicker. The problem I find is those they are limiting. Oftentimes they look forced. Everyone has the same images, and quite honestly, even though a person's organic, it's not that hard to cut a person out. And from scratch from a photograph like this. So go ahead and find the image you want and spend a few minutes just cutting them out. And I'll show you an easy way. You don't have to be super precise. This isn't going to take, it'll take a little bit of time, but not ridiculous amount of time. Now we can also see there's actually a little doggy here in this image as well, which I might keep in because quite honestly, for this part of the assignment, add more than one person, add dog if you want to, or some other animal that would make sense in this setting. You can add birds in the sky. They're all done the same way. Collage, find the photograph, select it, cut it out, paste it in, and scale it. We'll talk about scaling this person when I get this cut out. The other thing to note, we will talk about shadows layer as being very important. I'm not worried about the shadows on the ground at this point in time. So I'm just going to cut around the person. So I'm going to zoom in pretty closely because I want to get fairly detailed. Amazingly, you don't have to be super accurate. It still looks good. It's going to be so small. You can always clean it up later. It's okay. So I'm going to zoom in to sort of around the scale. And I like to use my polygon lasso. It's going to make a series of small straight lines to approximately define the area of the person. I find it easy to work with a mouse. I'm going to select that. I'm just going to pick somewhere to start, say the corner of that heel. I'm just going to get pretty close to just outlining this person just like this. And I'm just going to sort of trace around all the way. Now, if I was good, I would go ahead and pause the video and come back, but I'm going to grab the dog while I'm in it too. It's perfectly fine. Again, you can see how I'm not 100% precisely perfect. I think it's going to be fine anyway, just like that. I'm going to sort of move my cursor up here to sort of pan up, slowly pans up. When I see a little bit more, I can sort of select around. Hair is notoriously difficult to select, but again, I'm hoping that when I scale it sort of on the side and in the image, it's just not going to matter too much. It doesn't have to be perfect for how big a person is compared to a house. And this is a small house, let alone a big building. So we'll just sort of go and select this. Now I am trying to move somewhat quickly, so if you want to spend slightly longer doing this, that's okay too. I've also picked a fairly difficult one to do. He's got it backpacks. There's a dog attached to it, and so on and so forth. You can see, their fingers are pretty well defined here. I have a feeling that, when I paste this in, I'm going to probably have to scale it way down, and all these little details, while nice, just won't again easily be seen. So you can see sort of these straight lines just approximate the image pretty well. Here. And the other thing you want to think about when you're thinking about people is lighting. And so you want to approximately get the right time of day. In this case, we are doing a daytime image. And I'll have to check later once I post them in. If I just mirror him, I might have to mirror a person just to get them sort of on the right side so the light is coming from the correct side of the image. I might not for this guy for the way the lighting is set. But if the lighting is too far off, you have some leeway. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect match in lighting. You can always change your levels or your brightness contrast to help as well. But if it's too far off, it won't quite look right. Of course, another thing you can do, you don't have to use photoreal images of people. We sort of make sense for this assignment because we're using collage of photographs, but in the real world, you might turn them into silhouettes. So you might cut a person out, just like I'm doing here, just to get a shape that looks exactly like a real person. And then you just might select that whole area and fill it all black once you have the selection done. And then just take in the black fill, maybe put a transparency on it perhaps. Um, and then you just have a silhouette version. It could be black, it could be white, it could be gray or something else. So then you just then the lighting doesn't matter amazingly, right? Because it's just a silhouette. So that is, not only does it give you focus on your building by doing a silhouette, but it does take down the need to do lighting. So that's sort of a stylistic choice. And we'll get into more stylized and composition drawings later on in the semester. But I figured I'd mention it while I'm just sort of clicking around here. So there we go. Once I sort of make it full circle, it closes off when I have a selection set. Now in this case, we're pretty good on this. There's a little bit of area I should cut out there. It's so small it probably doesn't matter. And also the leash I haven't got. So if there's oftentimes there are areas that you have to go back and take out an area of a selection set or add in an area of a selection set. Just going to use these tools. So to take out an area, I want my take away or subtract button pushed. So I wouldn't really do this except for demonstration purposes. That's such a small area, but I can remove that area. Now that part is no longer selected. And if I want to add an area, say this leash here, I'll just go to my add area, trace out the leash. And now the leash is in there. Of course, I got to take out the hollow part of the leash, so I got to go back to subtract. I can keep working back and forth as much as you want. You can keep editing this selection set however you need it. And there you go. So now I've got just the person and the dog selected. So do Control C for copy. Come over here, Control V for paste. And now he's way down on a lower layer. I'm actually going to pull it all the way up because it wants to be near the top. And there's that person right there. Now I'm going to put him somewhere. Maybe he's walking back home on the path. So he's clearly a midget here. So now let's talk about scale. I'm going to do Control T for scale. And the thing about eye level perspectives is people's eyes are always at the same level. So if this person is not at ground level and this is my horizon line, his eyes, give or take some slight minor height differences, are going to be at that level. So I can put them right there. There we go. Again, if I need to flip him around for lighting's sake, I don't think I have to, but if I needed to, I'll go to transform, reflect, or flipped horizontal, and now he's facing the other way. Actually, I like him facing this way, and I think the lighting in either case works pretty well. So I actually might leave him that way. So I want you to go ahead. I'll move him over actually so the dog is also on the path. I'll let you go ahead and add a couple people, add more than one, add some animals, add birds, whatever the case might be, put them in, play with images adjustment level if you need to sort of match them to or match the entourage to the right level as you go. We don't need a car in this particular image, but if you wanted to add a car, it's the same way. Going to manufacturers' websites are a great place to get front views, side views, and other views. Just regular photographs, getting the right perspective can be difficult, but you can get colors and almost any color and almost any perspective from manufacturers' websites for cars. So that's a good place for that. And don't be too silly. Like, you want to set the scene. The reason for entourage is to set scale, and it's to make you believe that this is really happening. So if you have put silly things in, that's not. I like good jokes, but doing a rendering is not always the right time to do it. So be serious when you're putting the people in. Make sure they make sense. Make sure the eye levels are always basically at eye level, and you will be good to go. So now one big missing piece of this drawing is shadows, and we'll talk about that in the next video.